Hello, my friends. Jill here in my Empowered Fitness community for women over 40 looking to get energized, confident, and strong. It's Wednesday, and that means that today we do our live Q&A session answering all your questions regarding health and fitness and nutrition and menopause and hormones and all the things that come up and stop you from getting to your goals. So I'm excited to start this today. If it's your first time here, welcome. You're welcome to ask any questions you want in the chat below. Let me know that you watched. And I'm going to get right into it and start answering questions that came up from the newest ladies to join our group, okay? So first we have Geraldine, and she says her goal is to get fit and lose weight. And she says, I've been trying to lose weight for over a year and the scale won't move. Why? And maybe you guys have some ideas for Geraldine. Generally, if something is not working, it's because your approach is not working and you are not doing enough to change that approach, right? So if I keep doing the same thing over and over again and I'm not getting anywhere, I have to stop doing what I'm doing and change things up and try something different. It's the only way to get a new result. And so this is something that many of us go through because we actually aren't really taught. Nobody's teaching us what we're supposed to do at this stage in life, and it's different than what you've done before. So we need to change that approach. So for some reason, your scale is not moving. And I said this, I think last week on our Q&A, as a lot of us are stuck in this X marks the spot place where our fitness and our nutrition are not aligned. They're actually going in opposing forces. So maybe we're not eating enough and we're working out too much, and that's not going to work. Or maybe we're not eating right and we are not exercising, and that's not working out. We want to be eating good, healthy foods, enough to support our body, our natural systems, and support our exercise. That will get us to our goals. So if we want to be healthy and strong and have a firm body and a fit body and lose weight, then we have to be fueling those goals and doing the right exercise. So perhaps we're doing the wrong thing. So the best way for me to help Geraldine is to hop on a call with her and figure that out together, to take some notes and kind of go through. And so I just had a call with Jody, and she told me, about her day and about what she eats and about what she does for workouts. And it gave me a really clear picture. And we also talked a little bit about her life, because there's always health things that come up, life circumstances, trauma, all kinds of things that come up in our lives that make our situations unique. And so that has to be addressed as well. So if I can hop on the phone or on a Zoom call with Geraldine and we can have a good conversation and I can get a lot of details, then I can very quickly figure out why we're going in the wrong direction and what we're doing and what we need to be doing, and give her a good plan for fitness, give her the education she needs in regarding hormones, menopause, nutrition, etc., and give her a safe community with a lot of accountability and support, right? And that way we won't be stuck. And if you hire a coach and you're, hiring them for their services, and the objective is not to just give you workouts and to give you meal plans, it's to get you to your goal, then that should be what we do. And there shouldn't be any, sleeping on the job until that's done. And if things aren't working, then we have to be pivoting and changing up the approach. We should be changing the approach often anyways. So that would be the job of your coach, is to be helping you figure out why things aren't working, trying new things, and then addressing how they're going and changing it up so that you continuously get new results, okay? All right. Hi, everybody. Good to see everybody on. Janelle, hi. Lori, Claudine, Zeta, Erica. Good to see you all. All right, next question. And if you have questions, drop them below. I'm happy to answer them live. Sandy says what's holding her back from achieving her goals is she needs motivation, and she says it's very hard to do it alone. And I agree. I had a very hard time doing the journey alone too. And 10 years ago, or now it's 11 years, in 1 month, I think, or maybe it was now, it'll be, I think it was like now. January 13th, maybe yesterday, is my 11-year anniversary of hiring a coach and joining a community of other women. And, and actually I hired a coach, but she didn't have a community. So then I, like 1 week later, decided that I was going to become a coach because I really enjoyed how she helped me. And I said, wow, I said to myself, it was a weekend, and I had never lost a pound in my life. I had only gained pounds in my whole life. Here's a little story, sidetrack, right? So when I was in high school, I studied abroad and I gained 30 pounds. And then when I was in college, I studied abroad again and I gained more weight. And there was never a time in my life where I was losing weight. And then I had a massive fall right after I did lose a little weight for my wedding, but then I had a massive fall about 6 months after my wedding, 12 feet on a ladder, and broke my back, tore my calf, and again, the weight just went up. And then I had 2 kids and the weight kept going up. And so here I am, this was 2015, so I was 2 years postpartum for my second child, and I had never lost weight before, really. And I was at my very lowest, and I had zero confidence in myself or in any process because I had tried them all. And I hired this coach, and in a week I lost 6 pounds. And I was like, oh my God. And then another week later, I lost another 4 pounds, and then I lost another 5 pounds another week later. And so this is why very quickly I was like, this is amazing. Having a plan, fitness, nutrition, and accountability every day with a coach, it totally turned my life around. And I had so much excitement and joy and confidence that I started looking for other women to help. And so then I became a coach, and I became a nutrition professional, a fitness professional, and I'm grabbing moms from everywhere, gymnastics and friends and work and all these places, and I'm saying, I know how to help you now. It's all about having a plan and having, accountability and having fitness that you enjoy and having nutrition that you love. And how motivating does that sound? Getting results and not having to do it alone. And so, Sandy, you've really identified the things that hold people back. And so you need to hire a coach. You need to hop in an amazing community and get a plan. So that wasn't even Sandy's question. Sandy's question is, why do I have belly bloating? And so here's the reason. If you never had belly bloating at all, there's a change that happens in your gut when you go through hormonal changes. It's not just that your estrogen that controlled fat and helped you with hunger hormones is gone and nobody's helping you anymore. But the flora, that's your gut bacteria, is changing as well. So foods that before never bothered you might start to bother you and cause disrupt. And we also don't process sugar as well. And as you know, our society drives us towards quick foods, processed foods, high sugar foods. And so these are all things that suddenly we can't process very well. Alcohol, corn, soy, whey, all these different things, dairy, right? All these different things suddenly are tougher for our bodies to absorb nutrients and all these things. So one thing that you might be able to do, and I don't have a suggestion on which ones, so you might have to do a little bit of research, is digestive enzymes, okay? That's something that can really help you. What I have found, because I have not needed to take digestive enzymes yet, maybe they would help me. I avoid foods now that bother me. One of my favorite things when I see it on a restaurant menu is roasted Brussels sprouts with a balsamic glaze or whatever it is, some bacon in there. And I just can't do it anymore. I cannot eat Brussels sprouts anymore. They give me the worst gas, immediately, before I even leave the dinner table, right? And so I just can't do it anymore. So I avoid foods that cause my stomach disrupt, right? Dairy, have cut way down on dairy over the years. Alcohol, cut way down. Not only, and I talked about this last week, if you go to my feed, not only because it upsets my everything, but I don't handle it very well. I don't sleep, right? So foods that may never have bothered you are suddenly going to start bothering you. And so you can turn to trying digestive enzymes, or what I do is I fill my day with different things that help me, like greens, adaptogens, probiotics, prebiotics. So I take all different supplements. I mix them all. They're generally all powders or shakes that I have in my water or shakes that I drink, and they help me with my gut flora. Another thing that can help is varying your diet. So too much of anything can start to upset your stomach. I had a test done, an at-home test by a company called Viome, and I sent my samples in that they needed, and they told me that I had an overgrowth of a cucumber bacteria. I just happened to have been eating a lot of cucumber and tomato salads at that time period. And so I just stopped. I stopped eating the cucumbers for a good 30 days. And then when I brought them back, I made sure that they weren't like a eat cucumbers all day long every day. I wasn't buying 8 cucumbers at a time anymore. And so I just started to vary my nutrition and be very careful not to have too much of anything, okay? So that might be able to help you too. Hi, Sherry. Okay. Janet just wants to lose weight. That was the only thing she shared with me. We've got Susan who says, I haven't found the right person to help me with weight loss. And that's what's holding her back. And I totally get that. It took me, let's see, I don't know how old I was. I probably could figure that out. Back in 2015. I don't know. No, that I was 28. Something like that maybe. Close to that. No, I have no idea. What is that, 11 years ago? What am I now? I'm 43 now, 32. I wasn't 28, right? Okay, so in my early 30s, it took me that long to find the right coach for me, right? And there's a million coaches out there. I'm not the only one. And so I think that finding the right person is somebody who, number one, and these might be different for everybody. I would want somebody who's available to me, who listens to me, right? Who doesn't completely intimidate me, maybe just a little bit. But when I look for coaches, in my business, I look for somebody who will take some one-on-one time with me and not necessarily be like counting the minutes as dollars. That's why I hate doctors. I've gotten like notes from doctors' visits where they're like literally like wasting my time just to make more money. I think that's awful. It should be about the results, right? Somebody whose philosophies make sense to you, that you feel like you jive with it. Same thing with a doctor. If I'm like, I don't believe anything you're saying, I'm not coming back to you, I'm not doing what you're telling me to do, sorry, you have to have a little bit of gut instinct about some things, right? People. Generally, when I'm on a call with somebody and they decide to join my program, they'll tell me, I felt this instant connection with you, or whether it's us chatting live, or I totally everything you say, it makes sense to me. I feel this connection. I feel like you're real. And so those are things that are important, and that that their approach fits your lifestyle, right? Because if a coach told me, and I've hired coaches too, I've joined programs where I was trying to keep up with like 3 hours of workout a day, and that lasted me like a week, and I was like, okay, not the right season of life for me to be spending 3 hours on my fitness. This isn't working, sorry. So you really have to jive. And it's okay to go through different programs and, and find, that some things just don't work for you. You figure out, kind of like a bad boyfriend, figure out what's not right for you. And that can help you lead you to the right person. So that's why I like to have Zoom calls with my prospective clients, so that we can kind of feel if we gel together. And if I feel like we're not going to gel together, then maybe I'll start you with a small trial, a week or a month, so that we're not tied to each other for a long time. If I feel that we're really, we have a strong connection, then maybe I won't offer you my 3-month program. Maybe I'll encourage you to join me for 6 months or a year, because I really think that that's going to be the best place for you. I try to look at each person and give them what they need and what the best fit is, not just sell the most expensive thing or whatever it is, okay? So Susan's actual question is, why is it so hard to lose weight post-menopause? And so I would say for many women, it's just that they're not doing the right things. And maybe they're not committed enough to them, right? So things that are really important in terms of weight loss post-menopause is, again, alignment of fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, habits, sleep, recovery, all these things. And it's funny because it's not just the women either. I had a friend of mine, Bruce, who I golf with, get in touch with me yesterday. And Bruce, I found out last week that he had torn his calf playing pickleball. Well, I don't like pickleball because there's too many injuries, and the people playing it seem to be retirees. My parents play pickleball, and my big fear as a fitness professional is that the people playing are not warming up appropriately. They're not training for this sport, right? They're not doing the things before and after that would help prevent injury. And so Bruce tore his calf playing, and he's sad because now he can't golf with us. And he got in touch and he said, I realized in my pondering here in my chair that perhaps I'm not doing the right things before and after or whenever or whatever it is. I'm not doing the right things to prepare for my pickleball matches. He said, I'm going to need your help once I figure out what my PT is and all that stuff. And so the immediate things that came to me were, are you warming up appropriately? And the worst thing you could do before pickleball is to stretch cold muscles. And then the second thing is not recover properly, right? And so there's these things that, how fun is the warm up and the recovery? Not half as fun as the playing the pickleball. And so it's the same thing when we're talking about menopausal weight loss. Are we doing the things that we need to be doing daily, right? What's more fun, scrolling on your phone and watching Netflix, or getting your steps in for the day? Well, you're going to have to make that fun. And I'm listening to so many books, and so it's making me happy to actually go out and walk more. And you have to have commitment to those things. So the reason why it's harder to lose weight post-menopause is because you do not now have the hormones that helped you with fat storage management and stress management. You don't have those things anymore, and that plays a big role in weight management. And so you need to pick up the slack where the hormones left off. And so these are things that I teach in my programming. They're things that not only do I teach them, but I hold you accountable to them, and I try to make them fun and exciting and challenging so that it's not something that you just want to skip every day. All right, so hopefully that helps, Susan. We're just not as young as we used to be, so we got to pick up the slack and do a little more work. And I think a lot of people, I think some of this, to a good point, is that a lot of it, I think, is society, right? Saying that, oh, you're old, you need to slow down, or, this and that, whatever it is. And that's not true. We know that's not true. We don't have to slow down. Okay. Joanna says nothing's holding her back. She's just struggling going through menopause. So menopause is holding her back. She wants to know, how do I juggle fitness, nutrition, weight loss, menopause, and staying healthy and fit? So it sounds like a lot of things, right? But what we need to do is kind of make it more simple, right? So what are the big needs in fitness? What are the basic goals of nutrition? What are the simple things that you need to know about menopause and weight loss, which I would say outside of the fitness and nutrition, sleep and stress management are going to be two big things, okay? If you just completely dismiss those things, then you're going to always be struggling. So, yeah, it can feel like a lot, especially when we as a society also live very busy lives. So perhaps you need a little more help. Perhaps you need a little bit more time management. Perhaps you need to let things go that aren't serving you, right? So if I say I don't have time to get my 9,000 steps in a day, but I watched 3 shows on Netflix today, that's not having to juggle my time. That's just priorities, right? And I know I'm not saying that that's what's happening with Joanna, but we need to figure out our priorities and get in control of our time. And it really helps when you're not wasting time trying to understand what to do or constantly scrolling to figure out, I don't even know what to do. We spend so much time being confused that it's a lot easier to do all the things when it's a really simple plan. I've got ladies in my current challenge, our New Year's Power Within Challenge, who are getting their steps in, getting their water in, getting enough sleep, doing their workouts daily, following a nutrition plan, checking in with the group. It's a lot of things, but to them, it doesn't feel like this barrage of things that they suddenly have to do. They're having a lot of fun doing it, and it's making a difference. And they're really not that hard to do when you have a really clear understanding of how to do them and what you got to do. Let's take a quick look at Claudine. She's saying, is hormone evaluation testing helpful to know where you are at postmenopause? I think it's a great idea. Although, I'm not in perimenopause even yet, or I guess I have an IUD, so it would be very hard to know personally. I purchased hormone panel testing this past summer, so in June. And quite honestly, I think I would do it every year. I'm sure that some insurances might cover it, whatever it is. I just knew that I wanted to have my information and all the tests done so that I could go into my annual appointment with my gynecologist and say, here's the information. What are we gonna do, right? Why am I feeling this way and that way? And so I think getting a hormone panel is a great idea. There's a lot of different testing centers. I went through Quest Diagnostics. They were having a sale on tests. You can go on their site, buy all kinds of testing. I mean, for me, I just think it's fun to know your body. And based on the results, my gynecologist did prescribe something for me. And so I do think it's helpful. It's good to have a baseline. There are a lot of things you need to know about testing. So if you are on, some kind of hormones, like I'm not on HRT, but I have an IUD, so that's birth control. So it's, I think it's just progesterone that's in that Mirena. You need to know when during your cycle you're getting tested because hormone levels rise and drop throughout. Let's see. I'm not sure. You'd have to maybe you could talk to a doctor as well. But post-menopause hormones, you should kind of know that your estrogen, your progesterone have flatlined. So a lot of doctors will not need hormone testing. They will more likely ask you what your symptoms are and help you there. And a lot of symptoms can be helped with the 5 pillars of our menopause makeover, which is sleep, stress, fitness, nutrition, and supplementation. So those things can help you as well. All right, going back to our questions. We've got about 5 minutes left. We've got Michelle. She says life and stress are holding her back. She wants significant weight loss, and she's saying, how do I need to change things from what I did when I was younger? So I don't know how much younger you're thinking, but when we're younger, our metabolism is zooming. Like kids are supposed to intake about 3,000 calories a day because their metabolism is humming, their bodies are growing, there's a lot going on. The big changes with nutrition is that our blood sugar needs to be regulated. We're more sensitive to insulin, right? And or rather we're resistant, right? Insulin resistant. And so we need to be careful with the carb intake, with the sugars, with the intervals at which we're eating, and a lot of things with nutrition. We need balanced nutrition. We need to make sure we're eating enough protein to maintain and build lean muscle. And so that's something, so when you're younger, maybe you're eating all kinds of junk food, right? I don't know if this was like in high school, but I mean, I was eating salad bar in high school because I knew I didn't have the genes, right? I didn't have the genes that would keep me skinny, so I needed to do the hard work early on. But a lot of the girls would like eat French fries every day for lunch. I knew I could never do that, nor did I want to. But I was seeing kids every day eating French fries all day. And I'm like, okay, so maybe they could stay thin now, but when I look at Facebook, those same girls that were eating French fries every day at lunch then, they don't look very good right now, right? So healthy habits, we really want to be eating your nutrients. So with nutrition, it's being careful with carbs, being intentional, having balanced nutrition. With fitness, when you're younger, burning energy with cardio is very effective. Later in life, midlife, it can be too much. It can cause stress levels to be higher, and you really don't want to be eating away at your muscle stores because it's already biologically declining, right, naturally. So we need to focus on strength training. So that's one big thing that you need to be adding is a lot more strength training and less cardio, more walking, because walking is good for that non-exercise movement, keeps you healthy, gets you outside, gets you fresh air, gets you vitamin D, helps calm stress and cortisol levels. And so that's really what you want to do to change. You also need more recovery time when you're getting older. Muscles need more recovery. You need more stretching, most likely. Longer periods of stretch. So those are some things that you might want to change from when you were younger. Getting more sleep, right? So you might have had a time in your life where you could survive on 5-6 hours of sleep. You need more now. Let's take one more question. Well, Michelle says she's not sure what to do now in menopause. She says, how much cardio should she do? So that, again, it's going to depend on where you're at, how your body reacts to it, what your current goals are, your short-term goals, your long-term goals. So that's something that I address in my programming, and we change it up, right? So sometimes right now in the program that many of my clients are doing, the Power Within, we have one cardio day, right? And then in my new program that I'm building, we are going to have 2 cardio days. And a lot of my programs, we have 0 cardio days. Most of my programs have 0 cardio days. So no days when we're like actively trying to do things really fast and long and any of that stuff. We really focus on strength training and keeping that heart rate, at a healthy level, but not stressing it. Okay, let's do one more. Tina from Texas says what's holding her back is no time for meal prep. She says, how do I get rid of weight and fat naturally? Make time for meal prep. So, we've got to find some time. We've got 24 hours times 7 days a week. Don't ask me to do that math right now. I don't know. So we have several hundred hours in our week, and we have got to find maybe an hour, right, for meal prep. And that could mean just mapping out your structure of your meals, mapping out your shopping list so that you have healthy things in the house. It doesn't mean you have to literally make the food for 7 days and put it in funny little containers with sections and, and measure everything by the ounce in the cup. It doesn't mean that, but it means giving some concerted effort to planning out what you're going to have on hand and how that fits a framework that you're going to follow so that you can naturally get to your goals and not have to work so hard. Because one way that you're not going to naturally get to your goals is having 0 plan and winging it all the time and eating things that are not going to be beneficial So taking that little bit of time is going to actually save you time later, right? So if I take an hour on a Sunday to make a few different things, right? I throw a big piece of meat or chicken in a crock pot. I throw some rice or quinoa or something in a pot to cook, and I make a whole sheet pan of roasted vegetables, right? I can do that all at once. It'll take me under an hour, and I don't have to be making meals every day throughout the week. So it does end up saving me time. And I have healthy foods on hand, right? You open the fridge and you tend to grab whatever's there. And so it should be saving you time overall. Those who aren't willing to make the time to do some of the work are probably not going to get the results. They're going to continue on the struggle bus. So I would say make the time, right? Work on time management and find the time. If it's a priority, you'll do it. If it's not, you won't. But having a coach, a community, and a plan will help you, okay? So hopefully these answers helped you today. Let me know you watched, and let's see. Here's what's going on right now. So I've included a link to set up a call with me, but you're not gonna find much time. I've got time today and tomorrow before 4 p.m. Eastern, between like 10 and 4 p.m. Eastern. Then on Friday, I will be off to Costa Rica, and I've blocked my calendar for the week because I'm going on a yoga retreat with my two best friends. And so we're going to be in the jungle, and we're going to be trying to clear our minds and have fun. And I bought like fun face masks and t-shirts for us and stuff. And so I will not be taking calls while I'm in Costa Rica. So we can save those for when I get back. But what I did include is the link to my 5-day menopause makeover, which is going to answer all of your questions. It is going to give you 5 workouts to get you going physically and understanding why strength training and recovery is so important. It's going to give you an amazing 5-day meal plan that will help you start to lose weight. And this is something that you can do. You'll feel like I'm there with you. You can set up a call with me when I'm back right after you finish, and we'll be ready for next steps when I get back. So I think if you're new here, that is the perfect thing. So I've included the link to the 5-day menopause makeover. And if we have, 25, 30, 50 of you do that, you're gonna have an amazing community ready for next steps right when I get back. And when I get back, we will be launching our newest programs as well. So you will have next steps opportunity, and I will be around. I'll be checking in with Messenger and whatnot a little bit here and there. And if you want, you can friend me and follow my adventures with my friends and stay in touch. All right. So have a wonderful rest of the week. I will be in here when I can. That's all I can tell you. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Maybe we'll do Monday motivation from Costa Rica. We probably will. All right. Bye, everybody.